Breaking news coming out of our HQ studios and in the NFL, and especially in D.C. with Alex Smith. Seems like his run with the Washington football team is expected to part ways and come to an end, according to reports today. Of course, Alex Smith, if we remember back in 2018, that gruesome injury that had him sitting out in 2019. But this past season, leading Washington football team to a 5-1 record as a starter, along with the comeback player of the year. He mentioned in an interview not too long ago, definitely threw a wrench in their QB plans. Taking a look at the QBs remaining on the roster, of course, not official yet about parting ways with Alex Smith, but Taylor Heineke, who they recently just signed to a 2-year, $4.75 million deal, stayed there in D.C., and Kyle Allen as well. For Alex Smith, he's still 36 and wants to play in the future, just won't be with the Washington football team. Bringing now Jonathan Jones and JJ, you broke this down Friday that this was going to happen. Now that this is going to take place, your reaction to this today?
Yeah, obviously not surprised, and it was extremely clear, really, as Washington was in pursuit of Matt Stafford those weeks ago, that they were not going to keep Alex Smith on the roster. You know, they're going to be saving about $15 million against the cap, not necessarily that they need that money, but just listen, with the new regime in there, Ron Rivera and his staff going into year 2 there, they're going in a different direction at quarterback, one that does not have a guy coming off of that injury who played well, you know, 5-1 as a starter, no doubt, but in those starts, I believe just 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, so you just need more production from the quarterback position. They feel very, very good about the backup quarterback position, but this was really not at all a surprise. Again, you go back to them attempting to get Matt Stafford there just a few weeks ago. The writing has been on the wall, and I can tell you that release of Alex Smith will be coming by tomorrow, potentially today. Washington, of course, has to handle things delicately for the comeback player of the year, a guy who almost quite literally gave his leg to the organization. And so this was never going to happen last year for Washington. They were always going to keep Alex Smith employed there. They were pleasantly surprised by how he was able to make a comeback, how well that he played. But going into the 2021 season, of course, with the NFC East Division title there, looking to go back-to-back for the first time in something like 15 years, in that division, they know that they need more production from the most important position in all of sports, and so that's why they're going to be looking to upgrade that position. Expect the release of Alex Smith by tomorrow, maybe even today. You mentioned there the backup situation is solid with Taylor Heineke for the next 2 years, but now there's an open spot. You know, once Alex Smith is gone, you got to fill that void. Dwayne Haskins is gone in Pittsburgh. There are some options out there. If you're Ron Rivera, you had a guy in Cam Newton that may or may not want to go back to New England. Others out there as well. If you're looking for the Washington football team and you're looking at the next starting quarterback, what are their options to bring somebody in D.C.? Well, you know, you were looking at, listen, I see all the time Dak Prescott is #1 on everyone's free agent list. I just can't imagine he's actually going to become a free agent, whether that's a long-term deal or a franchise tag from the Cowboys within the next week. He's not going to become a free agent. Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, 2 guys on the trade market to varying degrees. I don't see Deshaun Watson landing in Washington. And obviously, Washington was not on the list of, hey, I don't want to be traded, but if you trade me, destinations for Russell Wilson. So you look elsewhere. Do you make Sam Darnold your guy if you send a 3rd-round pick to the Jets, as they are going to be looking to unload Sam Darnold if and when they get, let's say, a Deshaun, who I'm not sure he wants to go to the Jets, or they use that #2 overall pick on Zach Wilson. When does Sam Darnold become available? You look at Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49ers have said all they're going to say on Jimmy Garoppolo, which normally indicates, hey, you know, we like you, but you've been injured a lot, and we want to upgrade because we want to get back to the NFC title game, so he could become available. And then you mentioned Cam Newton. I don't know if he's going to be the guy that they sign and say, you're our week 1 starter once they sign him in mid to late March. But I think that if you're looking at Cam, the 2 front runners for Cam, in my opinion, would certainly be Washington and New England. But it's hard for me to see that again, he would be that entrenched week 1 starter as soon as he signs anywhere, considering the season that he's coming off of. And then the last guy that I would mention is Teddy Bridgewater, the Carolina quarterback, who I highly, highly doubt he is going to be the Carolina quarterback in 2021, but we know that Marty Herney, the former 2-time general manager of the Carolina Panthers, the guy most responsible for bringing him into Carolina this time last year, is now in the front office with the Washington football team. They could potentially engineer a trade, probably restructure his deal to get his cap number down just a little bit. So those are the names that I would be looking for.
All right, JJ, we got about a minute here, but looking at Alex Smith, I mentioned he's 36. He has shown once thrown into the fire, he can get the job done. What are the prospects for him landing that next job?
Well, I think number one, the place that you're going to look for almost automatically is the Chicago Bears, a team that really doesn't have their quarterback on the roster. They can hold out hope that they could get Russell Wilson. I don't know what quarterback they would send to Seattle in order to secure Russell Wilson. But you look at Chicago, Mitch Trubisky, obviously an unrestricted free agent. You look at Nick Foles, and they really want to go into week 1 with him. So I could see Chicago. That's the first place that comes to mind. I'm not at all going to be surprised if Alex Smith is kind of dangling out there as everyone waits for free agency to really start. Because of this strange pandemic year, this is not going to happen and catch fire like it normally does each year. Things are going to start trickling out, and we still don't know what the salary cap is going to be. So teams are very much waiting on that. Everyone's waiting for what a Deshaun Watson is going to do and other top-tier quarterbacks, and then that's when you get to the Alex Smiths of the world. So we're going to see with him, but I would say Chicago, off the top of my head, the number 1 option.
All right. Appreciate the time. Jonathan Jones tapping in on the news. The Washington football team expect to part ways with Alex Smith.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.